Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Midweek Deals. Welcome to the Craft Cave, live here in sunny Sheffield. It is very sunny. The door is open, which helps the net, and also just in case you hear any weird noises, I've just heard an ice cream van, so that's always fun. So let's say a few hellos. Hello to Yvonne. Hello to Chris. Janet McRae. Hello, Janet. Samantha Hughes. Hello. Susan Clamp. Loads of people, and also we are now going live as well on YouTube. So we have got people watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember, as awful as this, I feel terrible saying this sometimes, we cannot see the comments on YouTube, simply because the YouTube, I can't read two different screens of comments at the same time. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to join in the conversation, then please open up open up Facebook as well. See, I'm trying to do too many things at the same time, so open up Facebook as well and we can see you on Facebook as well. So yes, YouTube seems to be working okay. I'm checking to make sure, because we've had so many problems recently of things not running right, but every bit of software has been updated now. The internet appears okay at the minute, so bear with us. So good evening, Erica. Good evening, Trudy. So what is Midweek Deals? Midweek Deals is our chance from Crafts 2 and the Art of Craft to give you some amazing half-price offers on some amazing products. And also it lets us clear out some stock that we've got in the warehouse, because, to be honest, 90% of what we've been doing on the Saturday specials, on the midweek deals, are things that I haven't actually seen before. So they are brand new to me. So I think they're brand new to me, they're brand new to you. And a chance of getting them at that price is amazing. So I'm going to take you through the bundles we've got tonight. Everything is available on the link. So everything I'm doing is available on the link. What's our Erica just said? Bought 4 packs of the lights and 3 packs of coconut white. I actually ordered, I've given in, this is not all of it, I actually ordered 40 packs of coconut white this week. They arrived on Tuesday. They arrived yesterday. I had 40 packs of coconut white and a few other packs as well. And then you said the lights. I will get onto the lights. If you are in our class on Saturday and you want the amazing lights, just to show you, we have now got them in stock, or Jane's got them in stock. So thank you so much, Jane, for doing that. But look, literally, I press. Isn't it clever? This is one of the dies we've got tonight as well, which is beautiful. And I think it's only like £4. It's crazy. So our first tonight, and there's quite a little collection, and I've used mixtures from all of them. So like this first sample I want to show you, I have loved making these. I really have. And what I did was I grabbed our vintage paper pad, which is only £4.99. So this is available on the website as well. It's not on the same page, but I'm hoping our Nicola can put us a link on, because she's a star at doing that. If you're watching, Nick, which I think you are, I've used that and amongst all my samples because it matched so beautifully. So I've used a real mix of the dyes. So from this one, I've actually used the trees. I didn't get that bauble, but I really wanted that bauble. I really did. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. But the trees are really clever. So those are the trees there. You actually get those mini stars with them, and you get those beautiful, it's a little like a stocking, a bow, and a candy cane with them. Absolutely fabulous. It's a beautiful collection. So that's £6.15. Now remember, what you want to do, and this is only my recommendation, is build yourself a basket up, because a basket of over £20 will be free P&P, which is saving you £3.49. Now, since some of the dyes that we're actually working with are only £4, it's like getting a dye for 49p if you take it over that. So this is the next one to build into your basket. This is fabulous, and I happen to know that this dye on its own, which is this beautiful border, this is the one I was on about, Samantha, that I know you love holly and you love border dyes. That one is in this bundle, and it has sold out individually already before we became live. But just to show you, I just think it's so beautiful. It really, I've used it across loads of them. Where's that other one? There we go. There's another one with that border and the trees and the stars and things like that. What's that? Susan said, sorry, late. Been looking for owner of a black Labrador. It's just coming to our house. Oh, I love a black lab. I love labs. I love pets, full stop. So you're also going to get the fabulous, now where have I, this one, landscape with this one. This one is just £8.99. So again, more of that paper from our vintage paper pad. Look how well it works with this. But that is just one piece cut. How clever is that die? It's got those thick lines. So I just went over with a little bit of ink and just coloured over the top one of the stars and then just 3 glass dewdrops. Love doing that one. And then here's the other one I did, and I really went to town crystal snowing this. But look how everything ties together. I think there's a real shabby chic to this collection. So that is our second one. So where are we? So that is our second collection. Now, there is a third individual. So this, if you take your basket, over £20, this is effectively free. It's £3.50, which is the same as postage. So if you have the first 2, this one is virtually costs you nothing because you'd pay it on postage. But this one I am going to demo as well because I absolutely love it. But look, it makes the most beautiful bauble. Those stars down the side are so cleverly done. Again, mixed in with more of that beautiful vintage paper, which is what I've done is it's got a sort of pink and blue, but I've used a little bit of brown on there. But I thought that is just such a sweet, sweet card. There's this one here I've done, where I've done it twice, once in silver, once in white. And then I've just put some vellum behind it and then on with those beautiful borders. So love that one. And then of course there is the one, and I will demo this because I want to show you the lights. Look how cute that is, just as a single card, and look how flat that is. I mean, I've put it on a little pop-up card so it stands nice and neat, but there we go. Oh, it's blessed. Nicola's just said, right, the website is running slow, but the paper pad, if you want it, is on the second page. So if you do want that paper pad, which is just £4.99, and the papers in here are beautiful. I mean, absolutely, I love these. The ginghams, the little trees, the stripes, the dots. Again, a different shade of the trees. But then you've got into like the darker shades. There's a beautiful tartan in here as well. So, where is that one? So many pages. I mean, literally, it is 24 pages, 180 GSM. So that's really worth it. And then, so that's sort of our next kind of bundle piece on there, or individual. Then you can get the border on its own. So if you want this border, this I thought was fabulous. And this is only £4, which is crazy. But what it does, it cuts all of this bottom bit, but it doesn't cut a line across. So you can make that medallion almost as big as you want, or just do it as an individual piece. But again, using some more of those beautiful papers. Also, Zena said, evening, Zena. Evening, John, Sam and Cavers. John, my desk is what? Is covered in stockings. Oh, yes. From the, oh, Nicola's put the link onto the pad. Thank you, Nicola. Yeah, because of course the stockings which aren't out yet, if you didn't do the Zoom class, if you're seeing people with the beautiful stockings on their cards, they will be out in a couple of weeks. They're not out until into August because they were an exclusive. Oh, and tartan, Syra Jane's just saying tartan's very good for men's cards, not necessarily for Christmas. I think that's brilliant. That's a great idea. So we have then one more, which is the lights. These are fabulous. They come in a 2 set. They're only £3. It is crazy. These are what we used at the weekend on the Zoom class. So these are really clever because you'll get the lights, you get the battery, but what happens is you've got on the front a little button. So I should have had this prepped, shouldn't I? Terrible for this. So the batteries come separately, which makes it so much easier. We just slide it in so you can easily, the idea is they want you to be able to change the battery, but look, press the button, lights come on. Press the button, light goes off. and it's less than 3mm thick. So it's like your foam tape, but they have 3 individual lights on. So much easier to work. These are an amazing deal. These are a new and an exclusive. There is only us that have got these. Jane has sourced these for us, but they are absolutely fabulous. Now, there is one more die that I don't think I've got. Now, where are we? I don't know if I put that on. I think I've messed up the graphics. There's one more die I want to show you, and I'll need to check the price. So let me have a look. Okay. You see, I'm terribly. I wasn't expecting everything to run okay. So, oh, it's $5.50. It is brilliant. Now this I've used to make this card. I made this morning just with our glitter card and some silver mirror card and the embossing folder, and then this one, which I just love. And it's got that beautiful border of all snowflakes, and all these individual snowflakes all come out from the actual die. So this is $5.50, and this is it here. So this is basically, what have they called it? Lovely clock face, because it's lovely Christmas. Oops, lost the packaging. This is really clever. It's a proper, you know I love a clock. It's a proper clock, but it's a size I haven't done before. You get the hands and you get that beautiful outside piece. But I just thought that card, and I don't know where I've put it now, that one. That I love. For a New Year's card, I absolutely love that. So this one is just $5.50 on its own. The clock would look wonderful with lights behind it. Oh, it would. What a brilliant idea. Oh, thank you, Nicola. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow, aren't I? But it cuts out this beautiful rim of the clock. It's so clever. So that is our 4th one. Samantha, you said I couldn't resist the clock, but sadly missed the holly. You can get the holly in that second bundle. So in that second bundle, you'll get that beautiful holly border, and you get that massive seam die. But can you see, this will actually as well foil. So all these raised areas and the outline will foil if you've got one of the older style foil cards. Oh, Sarah Jane, new baby cards. Great idea for the clock. But it is so clever. So if you want that one, Samantha, you can get it in this bundle at $8.99 with that one. And that one was over £10 on its own. So it's really, really worth it. So what I thought I should do is I need to do some demoing, don't I? I mean, that's what you're watching for as well. You want to see the deals, but you also want to see some demonstrations. So I've already cut a few bits. I will show you towards the end a card and how to put the lights into it. So I've already got some bits here cut, just to save a little bit of time for everyone, but they cut absolutely beautifully. But as soon as I saw these dies, and I sort of opened, I've had them for a couple of weeks, but I didn't get a chance to go play with them till Monday. And then on Monday morning, I looked at them and I thought, wow, they go so well with the pad. That's exactly what I want to do, is I want to do something that's relatively shabby chic, but that works and has something different. You know, we always keep constantly going back to the same colours. So I wanted to do this one. Nicola, as normal, checked the deals earlier and ordered so I could chill seeing the samples. Oh, bless. Thank you, Nicola. So I've taken a piece of our pad, and this is just 6x6. So I've taken that already, and all I'm going to use, the only ink I'm going to use, is VersaFine Vintage Sepia. And when you're actually using any printed papers, you will always find that I will always add a little bit of ink so they don't look quite as raw. And that's something I think is quite important to do. So I've got my VersaFine Vintage Sepia here. Let's just make sure everything's still... Yes, it is. Everything seems to be running okay. So touch wood. Now it won't, obviously. Now I've said that. So what I want to do is just turn the edge a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Vintage Sepia on a finger dauber and just colour the edge. So I'm going to colour the edge of the paper, and that's what's so fab. All of this pad is matte, so it's all matte paper. So you can ink it really easily and go as far as you want. You can stamp on it and all sorts. And at 180 GSM, it's got some serious strength to it as well. I placed an order for some of the normal stock and forgot to check the deal. Silly me. Oh, sorry, Margaret. Well, we didn't do last Wednesday, did we? So I can understand why you might have missed out on that one. So I'm just going to mat and layer as normal. I've got a 6.5 by 6.5 inch card blank I've made myself, and I've matted on it a little bit of our canvas in the sort of baby pink, and then a little bit of I think I've used tea or craft card. They both work the same, to be fair. So I'll just put that on. But already, can you see in comparison to a normal colour piece of paper, it's right, you know, it looks so much different just by inking it. It looks almost like you've hand stamped it. So I want a piece to go in there, but I want that torn look. And I also want it to be a set size. I want it to be even. I don't want to randomly tear it. So I came up with this. So I'm using my mat, and effectively I'm going to put my paper down on a square, and all I'm going to do is to take a sort of 1/2 inch off each side. And the way I tear is like this for doing this. So take a rule, put it neat on your lines, pick up your paper and just tear against your rule. You'll get that beautiful torn edge, but it isn't going off in a weird way, yeah? So I'm going to turn that round, do the same thing again, and again tear off 1/2 inch. And I'm tearing towards me. If I tear towards me, then what happens is I get the paper on the front, if that makes sense. So I get the tear, I get the white torn edge. I'll show you there. Yeah, if I tear it the other way, I don't get much white at all, but we will use these strips. And then I'm going to rotate that round another 1/4 turn, take my rule, hold it down, and then tear. So that way I've got a beautiful torn edge. And again, I'm just going to take a little bit of the vintage sepia, which works so well with this pad because it's got a vintage look, and then colour the edges. So it's a neat way of making a beautiful torn rough edge. And then I'm going to take my 4-in-1 tool on one of the corners, and I'm just going to roll it around that, so I get that little bit of a lifted corner. Take my vintage sepia and just make sure I age the other side of the pad. So I'm going to take it over, turn it over to the other side, take some foam tape. So remember, at the minute, the dies I'm using for this, I'm using the beautiful trees, which are in this first bundle at £6.15, with and I'm really jealous of anybody who manages to get hold of the bauble. So I'm using those. I'm also going to be using the strip of sort of holly border as well. It's really cool. So what I've done is I put foam tape everywhere but the corner that I've torn or that I've curled, and I'm just going to stick that straight on. So I'm working straight onto the card. So I'm going to take off our tape. There we go. And just put that straight. But you see, because the colours in the pad have all been picked, it all matches. I just love this. Sorry, I don't do shabby chic often. I really don't. And I love the look of it. In fact, when I set up my blog, which was John Next Door, I had 2 blogs ideas, and I had 2 blogs set up. And one was called Not So Distressed, because I loved shabby and I was going to do a blog all about just shabby chic and distressed items. And I couldn't keep up with it, so that one never got published. So it was only that one who did. So this now, because I used that technique of using the ruler, this is now even. So if you notice, look, it's exactly the width of that border piece. And that border piece, which is on its own, it's only £4. You see how beautiful that is just on its own. You could repeat that and double repeat that. And it cuts absolutely gorgeously. In fact, what I should do, because I've already pre-cut it, is just to show you how well this cuts. So let's grab a scrap of card from the magical coconut white scrap drawer. So I'm going to put it against the bottom line because it doesn't cut the bottom line. I'm just going to tape it down just like that, and then I'm going to run that through my Kaleido very quickly. But I always think it's important because you look at that and go, look at that, absolutely every piece. Oh, you found the, oh, brilliant, they found the owner of the dog and didn't even know they got out. That's usual, to be fair. But look how beautifully that cuts. But again, just to take you this, to show you what I was talking about with this, is I've got a piece here that's cut to just over 5, it's about 5.5. It doesn't cut the bottom. So I can take that. See, again, I'm going off completely of what I planned to do. So let's just run that one through. So I'm running this one through straight, because you normally run it down the sides. This is going right through the middle, but look, every bit's cut. So this works in a really clever way, because first of all, you can cut it out and extend it, but you can also fold that back so that that can become the top of your card. I mean, there's so many more samples I could have made had I had the time with this, because there's so much more I could do with this die. A really good border die, like the slim lines that I did, to me are must-haves, because there's so much more you can do with them. And look, it's even cut through where I'd left white on the plate. That's me, isn't it? So just works so well. So remember, you can pick up this die on its own for just £4, which is, they're all less than half price of what they would be. But that, again, you make that into a stand-up card and make that the top for your Christmas cards. It would be really beautiful and intricate, but it's still extremely flat for posting. But let's move on to the one I was going to do. So let's just give ourselves a little bit of cleaning on our board. So I want to keep that vintage look. So I'm going to take whatever ink I've got left, and it's why I'm not bringing another mat in. I'm quite happy for any of the ink to get picked up on this, because we're going for a shabby chic look. So all I'm doing is adding a little bit of around the edge and a little bit on that, just to dampen that colour down. And then again, a little strip of double-sided tape. Cut that off. And then I'm going to put that one on as my first sort of layer. There we go. Just like that. Don't worry about that holding out, because we're going to put a strip over that. But obviously, I've got the trees and I wanted to balance it out. So I've already cut the trees, and the trees are really clever because they've got cut lines in them. Remember, I did something similar in one of mine a few years ago. So you can 3D them and pull those little bits or fold them up, and again, colour and ink and give yourself a completely sort of 3D tree look. But all I want to do is just add, again, a little bit of that vintage sepia around the edges. Oops, that's the wrong side. You can always feel it on a die cut, can't you? And then again, a little bit of foam tape, not a lot, just in the middle of these. Just like that. So the trees, remember, are in that first bundle. So 6.15 will get you, and that beautiful bauble. So I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck these in on this side. So because that's not stuck down, look how well that's kept its space. I can go for a couple of trees there at the top, or even, I'm going to do that, bring one on. So we've got a really nice sort of shabby chic look going. So of course I want a piece to cover that now. So I've taken another piece of this. And again, I know that I want this down to 5 inches. Or is it 5 inches? Let's check our measurements. Yeah, I want it down to 5 and it's 6 inches. So I just want to take 1/2 inch off each side. So turn it round, do exactly the same. So I get that tear. So that's the width I want. And how high do I want it? Well, I'm going to go for 2.5 inches. So again, put my rule on the 2.5 inch line and tear. And that way, I've got a piece that's torn edged that's exactly the size I want. Because if you're trying to tear it by hand, it's just honestly not going to fit. It's not going to be the right size that you want. So again, a little bit of vintage sepia, but look at the difference it makes when we add the vintage sepia. Really simple and easy to do. So again, a little bit of foam tape on the bottom. Let's bring our card in, because of course I've got some tape revealed there. And I can just pop that one on. And you see it fits. So playing with the colours. So now I want that really gorgeous border. And remember, that border is in this second set. And this, again, cuts beautifully. And I want to bring that pink in. I want a bit of a bright. So I'm going to use a little bit of pink. And this is just from our canvas card pack. And I'm just going to cut that. So here we go. So let's just pop that out. So there is the pink. But look, even though it's a bright colour, it really works on there. So I've got it in pink and I've also cut it in white, but you'd never think a dye that delicate would be stable, and it is. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's clean and simple card down the side, little sentiment on it, or the bauble that comes in the first bundle with it, just looks gorgeous. So let's just pop those into my spray box, and I'm going to spray glue those for speed. So talk amongst yourselves, because I'm trying to not spray in the air now. I'm trying to not make a mess of everything and cover everything with spray glue. So look, an actual spray box. So I'm going to go on with the pink and just put that on. I'm then going to go on with the white. And what I'm doing is, I'm not going to match the pattern exactly and put it in the same place. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and just rest it on top. So I've got that beautiful look there. I just think that works so well. And again, I can decorate that, I can ink that, I can add other bits onto there, but I like that as it stands. So of course now I want to put a sentiment on. So here's one of my pieces of paper from the back that I've got left. Let's take now, where did I have it? I'll probably throw it. Do you know, because I've been stamping so much, I keep throwing things all over the place. Let's make it Happy New Year, because I can find that one. So I'm going to pick up that. I'm going to use the VersaFine again in the vintage sepia, and I'm just going to stamp that on. Now it looks as if it's going to overhang, but it's exactly what I want. I want that to be as if it's missing, because I want those torn edges. We want to keep that shabby chic look. So a little bit of ink, just ink the edges. It brings that tearing out that little bit more. There we go. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glue on here. And again, I'm not bothering about the fact that I've got ink down on here because I can pick it up. So let's take a little bit of ink on there. And then I'm going to go onto a little bit of the pink. I always do it this way, terrible, aren't I? I can't cut a straight line from a big piece, so I cut it down. But I don't want it to be massive border. I don't want it to be really, you don't want it to be perfect. That's why I'm not using a guillotine. I want it to be a little bit shaggy, a little bit shabby chic. So again, some more foam tape. Run that along there. And then I'm going to add that across the middle, just like that. And then of course I've got 2 more trees. Which I can add in wherever I like. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit off the bottom of that. And again, a little bit of ink, shabby them up. Same with the sides. Like that again. A little bit of foam tape. And we'll tuck that one in. A little bit of foam tape on this front one. And I'm going to put that there. But you can see there how we've built up a really nice sort of shabby chic Christmas card. Something that will really stand out on someone's mantelpiece. Based purely on using the papers and those dies. Now I've got a few of our dewdrops because I don't want to over crystal this. I don't want it to look sort of crazy with crystals. So I'm just going to pick up and put on a few dewdrops. Again, something like this just helps to finish it off and give it a little bit of sparkle that you want for a festive sort of Christmas card without going over the top in terms of putting too many gems and pearls on. You know, pearls would be your classic on a shabby chic to me, or buttons work really well. But I thought, no, let's have a few little dewdrops so we can just keep it going and have that little bit of shine and reflective. So here we go. Oops, missed that one. That's fallen off. Let's put him back on. There we go. So that is our alternative version of the same card as I showed at the beginning. But you can see there how we've really built. But that works so well. Or here where we've left it that little bit more prominent. But building it up, using those little pieces, changing the colours slightly, but working with the rest of them, working with the other pieces that we've done. So that was made using, so let's put them down so you can actually see rather than just my elbows. So that was made using the trees from the first bundle, which is £6.15. Then we used the strips, that beautiful border which comes in that second bundle with that beautiful village, which is £8.99. And then we used the border on its own, £4. So what are we on? £8.99, which is 9. £6.15, which is 9, so that's 15. So basically, if you get all 3 of those and you add in that one, you'll get free P&P and it'll be just over £20. So effectively, if you're buying the first 3, add this one in, because this will actually make it just over £20 and you'll get free P&P. So this die effectively is free. So if you don't go over that, you're going to pay £3.50 for postage, which is crazy. So that was our first bundle, or our first demonstration. But I thought everyone would want me to show you the lights, and also what you can do, and I think this is quite interesting, is what I'm going to do, we'll use that beautiful die. I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit. So it will use that beautiful die there that you can get on its own. So this is only £3.50. But you could replace it and do the same idea with the bauble that's in this first bundle at 6.15. So it's the same sort of idea and same sort of size, so you could use either of those. I'm going to use that one because that's what I did originally and I wanted to show you. So let's just take a little bit of this new hand sanitizer I've got. It's really wet. So I'm going to clean down the ink because now we're making a clean card. So I don't want stuff everywhere. I don't want the ink everywhere. And the first thing I want to do is to cut sort of my aperture. So I'm going to put that right in the middle of a square, and I've cut this square to just, it's basically 4 1/4, 4 1/4. And this is just our coconut white card, and it's easy to see how to get it straight because you've got the spire. So get the spire on one of the lines. I mean, if you actually put it in the middle, it will actually tell you, you'll actually get it perfectly in the center by using that. So I'm just going to cut that one out. Again, I'm just using a manual machine, but most of the dies tonight will actually fit through your mini machines. So it will actually fit through your mini machines. So right, there we go. So we'll take that one out. So this I will use for another project. But I hope you can see here how gorgeously detailed this is. It's so cool. There we go. Can you see? Let me hold it forward. Look. That's it. See all the lines pressed in? Again, this would foil. Ooh. I should never wash my hair. It just makes it completely flat. So this would actually foil. All those flat areas would foil, and all the outline would look beautiful on that one. So let's move on. Now then, I've got a piece here of just vellum, and this is cheap vellum or cheap parchment. So again, this piece goes into our spray box. We give it a spray. I'm then going to add that on, and then what I've done is I've cut that again. Look how beautiful it is in gloss card, in mirror card. All that detail embosses and impresses in. I mean, it's almost like this is something you could hang on the tree. You could colour these and you could hang it on the tree. Audrey, I've been watching from the shower, so I haven't popped in to say hello. Hello, Audrey. Thank you for joining us from the shower. We don't mind where you're joining. Even if you're sat on the loo, you join us and join your crafting community and have fun. We're not fussed. We're not proud. So I'm just going to add a little bit of spray glue onto the back of that, and I'm going to drop it in to that space. So nice and simple. There we go. Just like that. But I mean, already that could go onto a matte and layer, or just as it is, onto a card blank and be sent. It is the perfect, quick Christmas card you could really easily make. And it's just beautiful and figurative. But to pop the lights in, I'm going to do is turn it onto its back. And I've got alcohol markers, but you could use highlighters, you can use felt tip pens, watercolour pens, whatever you've got. And I'm just going to take the fine nib, and I'm going to colour the stars, or behind the stars, in yellow. So I'm colouring this main one, and then I'm just going and colouring each of the stars in the yellow. So nice and simple. Then I'm going to colour in the lights in the church, or all the gaps in the church, because they'll shine like lights, in the yellow. There we go. Nice and simple. And then I'm going to take the green and just colour in the trees. There we go. Now you could use different shades of green and, you know, do your blending and everything. I just think it's easier to do this and just do one green, because this is something you could do quick and relatively inexpensive. Now, if I was using normal lights, I'd have to colour the sky as well, because everything will shine. And if you know when you do this, I don't know if you've done this before, when you put lights in behind something, they always show behind the cardboard. So you've got lights popping everywhere. The fantastic thing of having just the three is you can position them. So I can turn that over. It's self-sealing. So I've popped my battery in. And it means I can easily take my battery out and put a new one in once it runs out. Take that off and just stick that straight down. But can you see how thin that is? This is so the lights are so seriously clever, and it's literally £3 for two, so they work out at £1.50 each, and that includes a battery. So you're going to get a battery for each, and because these are wires, so what I can do is I can take this one and I can wire it, and I'm going to put it, I want one to shine in the middle of this biggest star. So take some sellotape and just tape that down. And then the wire, I can move, I can twist, and again, just some sellotape. So unlike a lot of the lights where you have to, you're using hot glue or you're using foam tape. So there, look, nowhere else, just where I wanted it. I'm going to take the second one and do a similar idea, and I want to put that one behind that star. So again, I'm just going to ticky tape it down, take my wires and sellotape them down, and then the third one I'm just going to put behind the church. Yeah, the lights are amazing, so much easier to put on. They are. I mean, when you were using them on Saturday, I know I've always been worried about using lights in a Zoom class with 50 people doing it, but it was so much quicker than I ever thought, because they're so easy to do. So there you can see on my 3 lights done. Look, switch it on, turn it over, they're nowhere else. That's what's so clever. And of course, I switch it on, I switch it off. So I'm just going to take now some foam tape, and this is the other thing, these are so thin that I don't have to do double layers of tape or make them really, really deep. They're only about 3mm wide. Obviously be careful sending abroad, because we don't know, but sending in the UK you're absolutely fine. So I put foam tape everywhere but where the battery is, like that. And take it off. So much easier to use. Oh, lovely. These look so clever. Of course, you haven't seen them, Carol, have you? You could use these for, I'll be using these in loads more, because I couldn't find them for the class on Saturday when I was checking in the week, so I had to get some more just in case. I've got more that are due to arrive. I found them in the end, so I'm just going to place that down. But look, completely flat. Look, switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. So simple. And of course that can go on a normal 10-fold card, but what I've done here is I've done a double gatefold, similar to what we did on Saturday, but I put a fold in the back. So the measurements, if anyone wants to know, these are 2.5, so it's 5 inches, so 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's not 2.5, is it? Get it right. No, it's 2.25 across. So it's 2.25 all the way across. But what that lets me do is to just, now normally I'd use a wet glue, but I'm going to use a little bit of power tape for speed and for time on this one. So I'm just going to put a little bit of power tape down each side, just like that. There we go. So if you got chance, throw the bundles. Heather, will the Art of Craft have more? We had lots and lots of them, so they should still all be in stock, says John, checking. Oh no. Yes, I'm sure Jane will get some more. I'm sure Jane will get some more sets of the lights. Hopefully. I will try and check and find out. So all I'm going to do is basically put this card down flat onto it. But there, by doing that, you see I have a completely flat card, but it stands totally proud. Switch on, switch off. And what you can do is put a little gem there if you want to and tell people. So if we look, I'm going to show you forward. I just think it's so clever, but such a clever, sweet little card. But this die makes all the difference to it. It really does. And at literally £3.50, it's the cost of postage. But look, press the button. On, off, on, off. But when they're on, they're not all around here, which they are with the normal string lights. They're normally everywhere. It allows you to do just 3. But again, it's still a pretty card when it's not lit. But of course, if anyone wants to change the battery, they can just lift it up and slide a replacement battery in. It's nowhere near as difficult. But to show you, this is a great batch card. Now, where have I put the original one? I have no idea. I can't remember. Oh, it's there. It's right in front of me. So this one I did on a notched frame, but look how similar they are. That's what's so clever about a die and so clever about this die, is literally that's the one we've just made. That's the one I made earlier, but we've made that live, so you can see how quickly you can do them. This is such a fab bulk card and so special. It is. This is a card you could... The thing is, if you've only paid £3.50 for the die, or you've had a few other bits, and you throw that in to take you over £20, which I think you'd be crazy not to throw this one into your bundle. Basically, the lights might cost you £1.50 each, but the materials and the die are not going to take much at all. So it really is worth it. And remember, you can do it with the other one. But what I'm going to try and do, because I have got about 10 minutes left, so I thought I would show you, we'll have a go with the clock. And I wanted to show you how beautifully these dies cut in the clock. I don't know why I've just peeled them off, because you can see them. So, oh, sorry, the die's sold out. Right, if you've missed out on that die, get this bundle with the trees, because you can do the same idea with that beautiful bauble bundle. So you can do the same idea with that. So let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So now, ooh, that's a sneak peek for Sunday. That little scrap there. So what I want to do is, I want to show you how gorgeously this frame cuts. But we can do a similar idea. So I'm going to take this frame and cut that. And I'm also going to cut... Oh, I can get it. It's not going to cut from the centre, and I'm going to explain. Sometimes we try too hard with dies. Yeah. Nicola will have to check if the batteries are okay to fly with. You will. If not, Nicola, the batteries are a standard size that you should be able to get in Australia. So you could fly with them without batteries and then get hold of the batteries in Australia. It's a standard coin battery size. But if you message me, I can let you know the coin. It's a 3-volt something. It's probably on the... It'll be on the packaging anyway. But yeah, it's a CR2016 3-volt battery. So lithium batteries you have to be careful with flying, but you will be able to get those, I'm absolutely certain, in Australia. So you could go without the batteries. Might just have to remove the batteries and source them in Australia, same as I've just said. So I have another idea for the clock. What about a different wedding card? I think wedding cards in clocks are perfect ideas. So what I've done here is I've done it in thingy card, and of course the very first time I cut this, and every other time it's cut like a dream, because I've gone into a mirror card and I've put it in the middle. So I'm moving it round until it clicks back into place. So I've left a couple of the snowflakes in, so I need to run this through, you know, once or twice more just to make sure it's going right. So let's find the plates. How I've managed that, I don't know. So let's just run that through. I love that idea for a wedding card for the clock. And I may, you know, I have an addiction to clocks. I have one, I don't know if you can see it, I have one up here still of my original. of my time flies Tempest Food yet. I love this. I love clocks. I've got a thing about clocks and clock faces. We've got 8 clock faces in the house, and a clock never lasts in our house more than 6 months. They break. We've tried replacing batteries and everything, and literally every single time they just don't work. But this is what I love about this die. And remember, this one is just £5.50, says John, just checking to make sure. So let's have a look. Where is it? Yeah, it is just £5.50 for the clock one. Yeah, that one is out of stock. The clock. We've got the landscape. That landscape's beautiful. So let's have a look. Yeah, there's only a few of this one left. So if you've got time and you fancy this one, get in there and get hold of it. But you can see there's one already in there, isn't there? Oh yeah. Can always tell when there's one in the place because it kind of scores it and doesn't let it cut through properly, whereas every other one is coming out. So you get beautiful snowflakes. Don't know if you can see those from coming out of that beautiful frame for the clock. But again, that works so well. I know I'm going to run through on time, which is going to be really annoying for me, because I was going to say what we could do is this makes a really nice frame. So let's pretend I've pricked all of the bits out of this for speed. Goes into there. I'm going to then take the waste bit from the middle and cut the clock from it. Literally just fits. You could do the time of birth on baby card announcements. What a brilliant idea. Oh, Jackie has just said, will I be able to watch this later? Been a bit busy. You can. It was only Sunday's launch where we had the full internet problems and we couldn't go out on YouTube. So this is going out on YouTube at the minute. So you will be able to watch this show back as many times as you want to by watching it on YouTube. And I will send the link out tomorrow, just in case anyone's sort of unsure. I always try and put a link out to say, did you miss the show? Here's the cards I made. Click on this to watch it back. And it's always the YouTube link. So I will do that tomorrow. So, but look how fine this clock is. As sort of Sarah Jane said, and as our wonderful Julie said, you could use this on a baby card and put the time of birth on, because it's so sweet, it's so cute, and it's so small. So again, let's just take those bits out. I am going to run out of time, guys. I am really sorry. So just to remind you, the lights will hopefully be back in stock. I will try and find out for you. The bundle is still available, which is that beautiful one at £6.15. Yeah, the £8.99 bundle is still available as well. So you can get hold of that. So let's just pop that onto a piece of that. The border, I think, is still available. The lights have sold out. So has that individual church scene. But check out the paper pad as well, because the paper pad is gorgeous. So this is an accident. This is actually a piece that's been sat in my box, spray box, for about 4 days. I just love that. And then and I should have pricked the pieces out fully, but I haven't. But just take our border around it. We've got our separate snowflakes, so I can add one of those in the centre. There we go. So where's the 12? Ooh, I always say that and I never do it. So get the 12 correct at the top. Let's drop that one in. So if you want to have another hour of playing and demonstrations, I'll be back at 7 o'clock over on John Next Door Official. So you just have to move over. If you are on YouTube, don't worry, you just close the one you're watching now, and then on the same page the next one is there, because it's always on the same channel for YouTube. But again, then I could put lights behind that, and I could actually spotlight with the 3 lights the time. I'm not going to have time to do that. I'm going to have to thank you for joining me tonight. and I hope that you can come back and join me in 5 minutes time over on John Next Door Official for an hour of just demos. So there's no graphics, no flogging, no giving you prices, just demonstrations, which I know that annoys some people because they're going, where can I buy that from? Where can I buy that from? But our Nicola sometimes helps, bless her. But Nicola says you could colour the back and then light this one up. That's the idea. You could colour that and light it. It would look gorgeous. Spend a little bit more time. I've not really got it in the centre and stuff, but I really want to play and finish with that one now, but I can't. So hopefully I will see you in 5 minutes time over on John Next Door Official. Take care, guys. Bye. If not, I'll be back here, I should say that, with a brand new launch. It was going to be something else, but it's still not in. So it's going to be the penultimate Christmas launch from John Next Door. Just again, 2 more dies. We're only doing small little bundles for you to choose, but we've got 4 left. So it's the penultimate 2. So a great chance to, if you miss